Member Saanich North and the Islands.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The British Columbia forestry industry has been collapsing for decades because successive governments have been over-harvesting trees, Mr. Speaker. People in remote, rural and urban British Columbia are voicing their concern. People within government are expressing their dismay. British Columbians are concerned the changes made by the previous government handing over the public interest to foreign interest is hurting them. This government continues to rapaciously log old-growth ecosystems on Vancouver Island, and it appears that they're doing so in a way that doesn't even comply with their own rules. Let's look at the Namint Valley in Port Alberni. Earlier this year, the photos of majestic tree stumps went viral. The vast clear-cuts were once rich habitat home to endangered species. 2 separate investigations appear to have found that BC timber sales are auctioning off cut blocks that are violating their own rules. The Compliance and Enforcement Officer from the Forest Ministry in one investigation recommended that the logging of the valley be halted and that the future harvesting be put on hold. Yet the logging of this pristine valley continues with no end in sight. My question is to the Minister of Forests. Why is the government ignoring the recommendation of this investigation, continuing to log irreplaceable old-growth ecosystems in the Namint Valley?
Minister of Forests, Lands, Natural Resources and Rural Development.
Well, I thank the member for his thoughtful question, and we as government understand the importance of old-growth forests to supporting biodiversity in the forest ecosystems. And we are blessed in BC to still have options on the management of old growth. He refers to the Namint Valley, and it was designated a special management zone in 2000 under the Vancouver Island land use plan. The values that underline this special management zone include wildlife, biodiversity, and recreation. And staff in my ministry are currently working as part of a working group that includes First Nations and staff from BC Timber Sales to legalize old-growth management areas, OGMAs, in the Namint Valley. This involves using new and up-to-date information and incorporating other important values, including legacy trees and large cultural trees, to provide additional protection. We take the members' concerns The Forest Practices Board is investigating the Ancient Forest Alliance's complaint, and the Forest Practices Board investigation will be made public.
Member Saanich North and the Islands on a supplemental.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And indeed, we do have options until, of course, we log all the old growth, and then those options are gone. I thank the Minister for the response. I think the problem that BC Timber Sales and the Ministry's enforcement officers are too closely entwined, Mr. Speaker. They work side by side. They report to the same people. So it appears to the public whose interest we are in this place to protect and who BC Timber Sales works on behalf of, we have serious compliance and enforcement issues. It appears we have a serious conflict of interest in the administration of the public interest. This is highlighted by the fact that the compliance officer responsible for the investigation that I mentioned earlier says that he was told at one point to, quote, close down the investigation, not write a report, and just send an internal memo. That, Mr. Speaker, is a worrying statement. BC Timber Sales appears to be ignoring the internal government recommendations, violating the Vancouver Island land use plan, and they may have been allowing overcutting of old growth for the past 18 years. My question is to the Minister of Forests. There is a growing lack of certainty whose interest BC Timber Sales is representing. Mr. Speaker, who is holding BC Timber Sales accountable for their actions?
Minister of Forests, Lands, Natural Resources and Rural Development.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Well, the BC Timber Sales is held to the same standard as private companies, and they're accountable to the public. They submit forest stewardship plans, and those forest stewardship plans now, under our new legislation that we passed in May under the Forest Range and Practices Act, is much more transparent than it was before. It allows forest operations map to be to be made public, and transparency is there for people to be able to see where cut blocks and roads, for instance, are planned. The Compliance and Enforcement Branch has the authority to investigate BC timber sales, and they are a compliance branch, so they monitor and ensure compliance with certain natural resource legislation, including compliance with forest stewardship plans. So when necessary and appropriate, they take enforcement actions, and that's the oversight with BCTS, the same as it would be for any forest licensee. However, we understand that there is people who are interested and concerned about harvesting practices on the timber harvesting land base. That's why we introduced a legacy tree policy in June, where there's the ability to register large trees, and each of these trees is protected by a 1 hectare buffer. That's 100 meters by 100 meters. We've also convened an old growth strategic review panel consisting of Gary Merkel and Al Gorley, who will be traveling the province to gather information and report back to me in the new year for recommendations around an old growth strategic policy. Thank you very much.